Hello gamers, welcome back to the channel. And it looks like there's some drama going around in the video game landscape, more importantly centered around Nintendo and the upcoming release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And it looks like after the direct, the price of the game was accidentally leaked on the Nintendo eShop for the price tag of $69.99, making it the first Nintendo Switch game to have that $70 price tag. Now if you're a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series user, you already know that those games have been priced at $70 for a while now, so this is nothing new. But what gets a lot of people up in arms is the fact that Nintendo is deciding to do this with one of their most anticipated games on this platform in the past few years, with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, how do I feel about this personally? I feel like, hey, this was kind of like inevitable. We knew that Nintendo was probably going to go into that $70 market at some point, since the other consoles already have done so. But there's a lot of people that are not really happy with this idea, mostly because you can't really compare a Nintendo Switch game to a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X game, to where those games are more demanding. They cost a little bit more money to make. You look at something like a God of War Ragnarok and compare that with a Nintendo Switch game, and you can see that there's much more that goes into a PlayStation 5 game and an Xbox Series X game, because they're really pushing the hardware to the max. You're getting like 60 frames per second, 4K resolution, where Nintendo Switch, we all know, like, sometimes it's hard to even maintain a 30 frames per second lock, not to mention that we don't get 4K capability on the Nintendo Switch. So I can see where a lot of people would be upset by this. Me personally, I look at it like it was kind of inevitable. I figured they would wait to their next console to have, you know, sort of like a hardware upgrade before they dive into the $70 market. But, you know, with this, I'm like, hey, I don't really buy a whole lot of games on day one anymore, mostly because games are just so expensive now. I really pick and choose which games I want to pick up on day one, and other games I just wait for it to go on sale. Tears of the Kingdom is a game that I've been anticipating for a while. I think Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game, my favorite Zelda game of all time. It dethroned Link to the Past for me, so I am definitely picking up Tears of the Kingdom. $70 is sort of a bummer to me, but I also grew up in an era where retro games, when Super Nintendo and stuff was out, you know, the games would always vary. Like, you would have a game for $40, you would have a game for $80, you would have a game for $60. There was no actual set price. The difference between that is, with those old games like Super Nintendo games, there were usually chips involved. Like with Star Fox, there was an extra chip involved to give it that better graphics, where we don't really have that when it comes to Nintendo Switch. So I can see where people are coming from. Like, you're not really giving us a hardware upgrade, you're not really doing anything to maintain to be worth that extra $10. So I can see where people are upset, but unfortunately that's where the market is today. That's one reason why I really switched over to my Valve Steam Deck, because you get great games on sale on Steam, and you don't have to really worry about that price hike on a lot of those games unless they're new release games. That's sort of where the market is right now. And to kind of give Nintendo a little bit of slack, it's not like all their games are $70. Like, we had Metroid Prime Remastered, which looks absolutely fantastic. They completely rebuilt the controls and everything, and that game is sitting at a solid $40. Where you look at something like PlayStation 5, where they claim to have remade The Last of Us Part 1, but it's really just a remaster. The control scheme hasn't changed at all. It was not rebuilt from the ground up like they claim. It was literally a reskin of a game that was remastered from a game that was made on the PlayStation 3, and they charged $70 for that. So I think with Nintendo, I don't mind Tears of the Kingdom being $70, because a lot of their other games are pretty cheap. They're pretty reasonable. You get games all the time for anywhere between $30 to $40, $50 to $60. So Tears of the Kingdom being $70, I personally don't mind, because I knew that one point or another it was going to be inevitable, and that's just the way the market is going. Games are getting more expensive because the price of living is getting more expensive, and to be a gamer, that's just something that we personally have to choose. Like, do we want to spend our money on this game, or do we want to save it and get something else later down the road? And we just kind of have to pick and choose on what games we want to buy. And the one thing I always tell everybody is, we as the consumer, we get to choose with our wallet. If we are not happy paying $70 for a game, we can choose not to do it. And that tells the companies that we refuse to pay $70 for these games. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because we will always have people out there that want to get these games. Look at The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Like, people drop $70 on that game, even though they can pick it up for $5, the remastered version, on the PS4 and get the PS5 upgrades. So unfortunately, we're not going to see the price of these games come down anytime soon. If anything, they're just going to keep on going up, and that's just the nature of the beast. But we, as a consumer, we have the right to choose what we spend our money on, and if it's something that doesn't feel right with you, then don't do it. Just wait for it to go on sale, and then just pick it up, maybe pre-owned or something later on down the line. So that's sort of my thoughts on it. I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, it's something I knew was just gonna happen. It was just a matter of when. But I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel about Nintendo charging $70 for Tears of the Kingdom, one of their most anticipated games on their Nintendo Switch platform? Leave those comments in the comment box below. Smash that like and subscribe button. I am Robert Storms, and thank you for watching.